You are now listening to UCereal. Alright, so three, music's playing, two, one, and we're live.
Welcome, viewers of the UCereal podcast. We're back here with another episode where today we all decide to wear red. I'm here,
Yeah, for
joined with
some
my co-host, uh,
Daniel.
and somewhere over
Zeke.
here, down there. Awesome. And I'm obviously your other co-host, Jake. And wow, do we have a special episode once again, as always. There's some big changes in the internet, some interesting pay-per-view events that took place, and we're going to talk about it all. So, do you guys want to start with how everyone's weeks went? Maybe.
Um,
Yeah, I mean, my week's been pretty normal. I mean, nothing's changed. Just the usual 9 to 5 or 9 to 12, whatever the job requires out of me, and go to sleep, work out. That's about it.
Very cool. Are there any changes or updates in your purchase of your home?
Yeah, it's just regular, you know, due diligence period process. Just a lot of calls with the agent and getting stuff done. So,
I know we talked about it last week, but remind me again, when are you going to Florida?
oh, I'm
Is
headed
that coming
there
up?
July, the beginning of July. So July 4th weekend is when I'm going.
Cool.
Yeah.
Daniel, how was your week?
my week was good. This weekend, I think I mentioned last podcast, I was going to the zoo. I don't know if I did. I went to the zoo. I ended up seeing a koala. Saw a
No,
koala,
you
Jake.
did it.
Because I went to the zoo. Yeah, I did it. I did it. I
No,
saw a
no,
koala.
you have no
It was a
use for me
magical moment for
anymore.
me. No, no, Jake. I would love to see another koala. I would love to. No, you have no use. But yeah, I saw the koala. He was gorgeous, beautiful, had chlamydia. It was awesome.
Oh,
But did that. I got my COVID shot yesterday.
oh, which one did you
Yeah,
get?
I got the Pfizer. I got the Pfizer. My first
Pfizer
dose.
gang.
Yeah, Pfizer gang. But my arm got really sore from that, so that was fun. And yeah, I don't know. I don't think I have anything else really. Jake, how was your week?
It was fun. Just hung out with some friends, had some sleepovers, explored the town. Had a pretty good time. So yeah, Tuesday I went to church with my friend Joseph, and a few times. This is like I think the third time I went to his church, and during the summer they have the college kids start by going out and doing like volunteer work, and we signed up to like I think it was kind of like a low income neighborhood or living, but pretty much they taught some kids about Jesus outside on a blanket, and we brought some snacks and played basketball and soccer, and it's pretty fun. And then we went back to like the church, and I'll say big churches, they do a good job at making church fun. It was a Lightning playoff game that night, so they set up like these giant screens and like projectors and played the games, had free barbecue, popcorn machines, sodas, like spike ball, cornhole, decks of cards. So that was pretty fun. But I don't know, other than that, just chilling, trying to make the most out of my summer.
I like them. Big fan, big fan. Wow. Well, let's see.
And get into our first talking point here.
Yeah, I think one of you want to touch on that first.
Yeah, we've talked about the Frenemies podcast, I think, and just how they did a good job of kind of just being truthful and speaking real on different events that have been going on in kind of the YouTuber and influence space. And I think it was last week they did their final episode. Trisha, I guess, kind of blew up on Ethan and just kind of quit. And
Okay.
honestly, it's expected because,
Yeah, what an interesting dynamic they had.
well, it's not even that. It's just that's what Trisha Paytas does. She's kind of cycles out of her friends. Like,
She's
she can
strange.
only stay with someone for so long. Like, I just kind of recently started hearing about her with her being a part of the vlog squad, and eventually she had a falling out with them, and then she started dating Ethan's
Brother.
in-law, and
Yeah.
then they started frenemies, which I think thought was a really good idea. And then obviously that blew up too, and I'm sure Trisha's feelings are valid, but I mean, I think she's kind of the common denominator in all these issues she comes across where she kind of just makes problems for herself.
Yeah.
So yeah, what do
She's
you think, Easy? I know you were a big fan of that podcast.
I mean, I have differing opinions, but overall, it's like, it's all about taking accountability, and she's just been, mental health is something, people need to be aware of. It's an actual health issue, and it's
Yeah,
on the rise recently, ever since COVID happened, but that
yeah,
doesn't mean
that's
that you can't be accountable for your actions, and I think that's part of the big reason this whole thing went bent out of shape, and I think she doesn't realize that. I mean, she does, but she has this tendency to just um, put gas in the flame and just stoke it even more. And Ethan has said time and time again she has no animosity against her. I mean, she has her problems, and what she did wasn't a great PR move, and it's just accountability really. But I mean, this was eventually going to happen because it stemmed from so many factors. One being the fact that she says she doesn't ask of anything from the podcast and the team, and she really does. I mean, the whole time she was contracted to work with Ethan, was she was just trying to make changes, trying to tell Ethan to put a new crew in. She was giving requests to have people come into the show, and as an HR finance manager myself, that is not what contracted individuals are supposed to be doing. So from a business standpoint, I 100% agree with Ethan on that aspect. But it's just it's mixing business with friends, and it's something that's very very touchy, and I think people are unaware of that factor, because once you mix two things with one another, it gets to be um, a bit sensitive, and I think that ultimately was what they were doing. They were literally walking on glass with this whole production and this whole business venture. But hey, they made a couple bucks out of it. You know, it's a win-win situation in terms of you know that aspect, but it's a lose-lose or a lose-win for Trisha because she lost a really good friend and a business partner. So that's all I have to
I
say.
mean, there's another aspect too. Of course, it's a whole business thing, but they've kind of entangled in their families too with her.
yeah.
I, did they? Is she
Are they
engaged to
engaged?
Moses or just
Yeah, they're
dating?
engaged, but I think more than anything, it was just the fact that I mean, you have to take into account that they're mingled in family relations as well, but ultimately it came down to the actual business that was the problem because she would, it's a he say she say thing, and ultimately no one wins that in a business dispute. Like, she claims that she wasn't getting paid enough, then she claims that Ethan wasn't accommodating her. It's all a really huge conundrum of just petty things that really she just doesn't understand one bit of business at all. In reality, I mean, she's a independent contractor who signed a contract to just host the show with Ethan. Everything else came out of Ethan's pockets. That's 100%
Yeah,
the truth. I mean,
it's
the
his crew, his
merch, the
studio.
production team, the actual team that designed the Frenemies merch, all that was out of Ethan's business expenditures, and she was one of them. So she has a hard time understanding those things. But nonetheless, I mean, you can say whether or not that whole thing with her and Ethan's brother-in-law was a factor. It might have been, but I really 100% believe that it has everything to do with the business. But yeah, I mean, it was bound to happen. So,
Mhm.
Yeah,
um,
Mm.
yeah. So,
Well, you want to give the little fun fact about the
David.
last, yeah, that you gave us
Um,
earlier?
so obviously, if some people may or may not know, David has returned from his, I think, almost 2 year long hiatus from where he hasn't uploaded on his main channel, and he
Hmm.
just so conveniently meant, or not meant, but he did upload his video on the first day, or the same day that the Frenemies podcast should be posted. Like the first week that they stopped posting is when he posted his vlog on the same day. So I thought that was kind of
Hmm.
interesting. I know obviously if the Frenemies podcast was still a thing, his return definitely would have been talked about, and I think Trisha and Ethan do have a lot of influential power. So maybe it's just a coincidence. Maybe it's just a conspiracy, or maybe David took their podcast into account and just waited for it to blow up to make a smooth return. Or I don't know. It's probably just a coincidence, but I just think that's kind
Yeah,
of interesting and funny.
yeah, that's a weird little coincidence. But yeah, in his vlog back, he just gave his friends a bunch of, or all expense paid trip to Hawaii, right?
Yeah. So he talked about Corinna's OnlyFans,
Yeah,
and I think, yeah, it was mostly Hawaii. He showed off some uh, red
right, right.
wagon red wagon car that he made, and then yeah, he gave his friends tickets to Hawaii, and then it's just a minute montage of them goofing around in Hawaii.
Yeah, so that's fun, I guess.
So
Oh,
I don't know.
also speaking on Corinna's OnlyFans, it has been confirmed that she does not only post Instagram pictures, but also her nipples.
Oh,
I
there's
I saw some tweet about that.
wait, what
She
is
was,
it? There's
huh?
so it does show.
So people were saying that she only posts her Instagram pictures on her
I see.
OnlyFans, but then she said no, that some other things got in there.
Okay.
So I guess that scandal's done with. I don't
Did you
know.
hear how much money she made in the first 48 hours?
No, how much?
She said on David's vlog that in the first 48 hours, I think she said she made like $1 million.
That's insane.
It's pretty insane. And
That's
that's all
insane.
monthly subscriptions. So even assuming like 10% of those people continue to keep buying, like she could be
Yeah,
making easy 100 grand a month.
that's
And
nuts.
it's probably going to be more than that because she's
It's
going to just get more and more monthly subscribers.
that's wild. What the heck?
Well, kind of getting into our last segment here, but like a
Oh
multi-point
yeah,
segment. Something me and Daniel thoroughly
we
enjoyed. I know
we loved it.
Easy's a little bit frustrated because he's a diehard boxing fan and he respects the sport and the athletes a lot, and so do we. But
I'm
the
not. I don't.
TikTokers,
I'm not frustrated. I don't condone this. But
okay,
I mean,
that's a better way to put it.
yeah. I mean, I don't wake
But
up
yeah,
every morning mad about Gib training for boxing. I
Yeah,
don't condone it because they can get themselves really hurt.
yeah. It was a great event nonetheless.
we're
They
gonna talk
did a
about
great job
yeah.
entertaining.
I
Yeah.
don't think so.
Um,
I think so.
I
I was
I
very
think I
Mm,
think it was
entertained.
like
I
yeah, it
think
was
I
well.
think I think the concerts made it good, but I didn't like the. I mean, it's just like, yeah, you guys can talk about it, I guess. I do
We
want to
have a
talk about
lot
the
of
Gib part though.
we have a lot of
Well,
emotional connection to these
yeah,
fighters,
like with Deji.
like
Deji,
Deji.
we've seen him in fight Jake Paul years ago when me and Jake were just little shrimp. We watched him, hoping he would beat Big Bad Jake Paul. He didn't. Um, he tends to not like to train for his fights, cardio wise, and we saw that again on Saturday when he
Yeah, it was even worse by
at the
far.
start of the third round, he comes out and takes a knee. And they were 2 minute rounds. It wasn't even
I
3 minute
know.
rounds like before, like 2 minute
It
rounds.
was pretty much 5 minutes. That's all it took for him. He probably got
Comes
winded
out.
doing the walkout.
Dude, that was astounding. And then like when I saw him at the weigh-in, I was like, he looks overweight. And
Yeah, the other kid, Vinny, he didn't
Vinny
look like anything special boxing wise, but obviously he's a young 18-year-old kid
and
who
trained.
looks like he's in phenomenal shape and just could, like the type of guy who'd be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna just go do a marathon this morning. So he looked like he was in great shape, and he just once Deji checked out, he just wailed on him for a round, and then the ref called it,
Yeah, yeah,
and
that
then
was God,
Deji
beautiful
cried.
fight. Yeah, then Deji cried. He tweeted
I'm
about
a
how he's a
failure.
failure. KSI just released a video that was like,
I
what the
saw that.
moment? Yeah, I saw the video
Kind of
too.
popped off on him.
It was, I think, it was fair criticisms.
No, it's definitely fair. It's like
Yeah,
you can't say that and like just not put in the work because it's so clear he
he
didn't
was
put in the
given a
work.
second chance.
My favorite line of the whole video is like, "You said you've been training 5 times a day.
Yeah.
Where McDonald's?"
Where at McDonald's? Yeah. Oh my
Yeah, he
gosh.
didn't look good. He
No,
looked
he did not look good. But somebody who did look good, Gibb. And Gibb, he was given a
oh
second chance. He made his little comeback after that Jake Paul fight. Everybody
yeah,
thought he was gonna lose this fight, and Gibb came out,
because
and he
Gibb
showed
had the
out.
weirdest stance in the Jake Paul fight.
Yeah,
Taylor had all the hype. Everyone was saying he's the best boxer on the card.
yeah,
He can actually box,
yeah.
and he just
That
not
doesn't
did
make
not
any
show up at
sense.
all.
He never
What?
boxed in his life.
I know.
No,
I don't
no,
know
but
There's
how
like
he
no
it
does.
was
record of him boxing at all.
no,
He's
it's not based off that because none of them have records. It was based off like footage
What do
and
you
just
mean?
yeah.
No, the DDG has boxed. He actually used to be an amateur. So that doesn't make
Oh,
any sense to me.
well,
what I'm
I'm just
saying.
yeah.
That's
That's
Some of them,
what
like,
everybody
it
was
just,
saying.
it's all like a gimmick,
it
really.
didn't make sense.
Just
I
'cause
don't know
he,
how
just
I
'cause
bought
he,
it.
the thing is that you have people like King Rai who lets these imbeciles into an actual gym with trainers who are very serious. And what they do is they pull out their phones. They say, "Hey Taylor, put on some 16-ounce gloves and get in the ring with Canelo." All of a sudden, he's majestically turned into one of the greatest boxers in history or whatever. And
On the
the
card.
yeah, so it's like it doesn't make any sense. Just because you throw a few punches on a bag or something makes you something else when amateurs do it for years and they actually have records and they knock people out and they go up the ranks and then they turn pro and they're not considered anything like that. They're literally like people who have had almost 300 fights in a ring in the amateurs and they turn pro after that. They're not even considered the best. They're considered upcoming fighters. But like
Yeah,
you give these
but we're talking
titles,
about
you give
on
these
a card of
titles to
influencers.
these like entertainers who are coming in with no training, and then you give these blatant names and throwing out different like, oh, he's the best boxer in the world because he
No,
stepped in the ring
on
with
the
you know.
card, among all the
No, yeah,
pieces
we didn't say
of
in the
poo
Well,
world.
poo,
like it's
of all
it's
the
a
poo poo on the
that's not
card, he's
my
the
that's
best
not my
piece of poo
argument. My
poo.
argument is that they throw these languages saying he's the best boxer in the card when you saw Jarvis just knock the shit out of some kid who,
Ib.
people say he
Yeah,
wasn't even
Oh,
gonna
oh yeah,
fight.
yeah.
So it's like, what do you mean on the card? DDG was an
Well, that's
amateur.
what I'm saying.
before the fights.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
We bought into all this hype, and they had no credit. And thinking back, I'm like, why did we all think this? There's no reason we should have thought
Exactly.
Taylor was gonna be
That's what
some
I'm trying to get at. There's no
animal.
reason for you guys to think that he's the
And
best in the
yeah,
class.
we fell into the hype. Everyone, YouTubers, people, you saying like, oh yeah, YouTubers are scared to fight me. They've seen my footage. I'm the best fighter on this card by far. And everyone just believed the hype, and he got absolutely demolished. Gibb worked him for 5 rounds straight. And the best part is, Easy, do you want to take this? What's the best part about
That was true.
he didn't get the win? It was a draw.
Yeah, it was a draw. Well, and
Doesn't
then
make
it,
any
it
It
fucking
came
got
out
over
sense.
to.
now.
It doesn't make fucking
Yeah.
sense how he got a draw because there were two judges that were against Holder
No, it's actually
blatantly,
all the
like
judges.
dramatically. Holder literally got one guy who said 50 to 40 46. What the fuck does that mean? How is that Taylor got one card where he got 5 rounds, which by the way, he didn't even win 1 minute of that fight. And
Yeah.
you're telling me there was a judge? I mean, obviously I know this is like I mean, it's simple in this sort of like sector or whatever you call this entertainment division where you can buy out a ref or whatever. Like it's obvious. But like speaking of just by the cards in general and how it scored, there's no mathematical way that was a draw. If you
Yeah.
heard the cards being called, literally two of the judges gave it all to Give, and then one judge gave it to Holder. That's not a draw. That's a split decision. So I literally heard that dumb fuck who was fucking calling out the cards, and I was like,
Oh, Fusi?
"You're fucking stupid if you think that's." Everyone knew that that was a split decision, and it wasn't. It was actually dramatically a fucking unanimous decision. But I was literally sitting there like, what does that even mean? Like, I thought it was a joke. I thought Fuzi was just playing around, and then because that mathematically that doesn't make any sense in scoring. So and then and then
I
Holder's
think it's
trying to
good on the ref's
act like
face.
Holder was trying to say that none of the punches landed when he threw them, but yet the punch stats speak for themselves. Gibb literally landed 46 punches to Holder's 12.
I think what he said
Like
was
it doesn't
he
make any
blocked a
sense.
lot of them, and like he said, like the punches he did land didn't hurt. I'm like,
That
no
doesn't
kidding, they didn't hurt.
matter.
You're
The
wearing
punches
16
landed.
ounce glove. You're
The
wearing
Yeah.
punches
16 ounce
fucking
gloves. It's
landed.
not
It
gonna
doesn't
hurt.
matter. Doesn't fucking matter. He
And even
outlanded.
if it
Give
didn't land,
outlanded.
you
He put
didn't
the
land
pressure
once.
on him. He hit him in the body. He worked the body. He worked the head. Bro, Gibb looked
No,
like a
well,
fucking fighter in there. Like I honestly thought Gibb was a boxer when he was working the body and then going to the head. He was throwing the fucking the 3 1s like crazy, bro.
Wow, that was insane. I love that clip.
I just couldn't believe the amount of training he put in and the amount of output he put in that fight.
Insane conditioning,
yeah.
Insane,
insane
insane.
combos.
He wasn't even tired after.
And like it
He could have
doesn't
gone 10 rounds.
and like the fact that I mean obviously he got the win now because the commission
He
that
Yeah.
got
sanctioned
robbed of his moment.
that sanctioned that fight had put out a statement saying that he won the fight. But it still doesn't. It just like I don't know. I
He
don't
was
know. For
robbed.
Holder's a bitch for not claiming the loss. I mean, he literally knew
I know, that
he
made me
lost.
so mad.
Like,
I
but
would have had
again,
so much
why do I even
respect if
care?
he would
Because
have
these
said,
guys are
Yeah,
just retarded. But
I was hoping I'd at least see like on Taylor's Instagram congratulating Gibb on the
no,
W, but no, he still is
no,
just
they're
going with the fact
entertainers.
that
They're TikTokers. They
he
don't give a
won.
fuck about
Taylor's
anything.
delusional.
Yeah,
This is all just to entertain. I mean, obviously, but I
And
think
then the main event. Who
the
touched on it
main
more?
event: Bryce Hall versus Austin McBroom. Bryce Hall walked out with nobody. That was hilarious. And then Bryce Hall was
Um,
pretty much just a punching bag for 3 rounds, was it?
only guy in the card to bleed, like a lot.
Yeah,
He
he
bled
bled a
so
lot.
much.
He
So much. Every
was
round his nose was
absolutely
dripping.
demolished. It was not
Knocked
close
out.
at
I mean, it
all.
wasn't a knockout, but the ref stopped the fight.
no, it
It was
Technical
was.
TKO.
knockout. Technical.
Technical? Okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna say he got knocked out, but he didn't. It was a TKO. His
Yep.
lights didn't go off by any means, but
I
Well,
mean, they
maybe
did
if they
because he
were
was
lighter
trying to
gloves.
hold on to him and then he fell. He just couldn't. He didn't
Yeah.
have balance, bro. He's so boxed up. He has no stance whatsoever.
and then my absolute favorite part was when he finishes He's like, I'm not a fighter. I've never claimed to be a fighter. And that the whole
There's so many
every
memes now.
TikTok on my next page or on my For You page the next day was just stitching that I'm not a fighter. I've never claimed to be a fighter. And hi, my name's Bryce Hall. I've won 40 street fights. I'm gonna win this fight because I'm a fighter. I'm gonna kick
Yeah,
his
because
butt.
I'm a real fighter, unlike Austin. And then
So
he was absolutely killed. But yeah, I thought it was a great event, very entertaining. I was entertained.
I watched the whole thing.
Yeah, it was entertaining. I mean, which was the purpose of it, so yeah. Freaking
We-
Austin McBroom had little baby in his walkout. What the heck?
I know, and he was dressed like a furry. Did you guys see his walkout
Oh
costume or
yeah, what was
the
that?
orange? That was insane.
That was
Did you ever see
strange.
that, Easy? What he walked out in?
I just saw the
No.
fight.
And then he
Can you
was like
Google it?
bouncing around and like his hood was falling and he was trying to pick it up with his gloves, but he
Yeah,
couldn't.
I'll put it up here really quick.
Austin McBroom walkout outfit.
I kind of want to talk about the Israel fight because that was the same night. That should have
Ooh,
gotten more attention
a real
or
fight.
real fight.
Real fight.
Israel's
Real
just
fight.
such a cool fighter.
Yeah.
I'm
He's a fighter
really
you've really attached to, Jake.
I know he's a bit of a weeb, so that it touches home.
It's a big win for you.
Yep, and he's just so cool. I've watched this one documentary on YouTube about like
Oh
all of his
yeah.
fights like
Hmm.
5 times. He's by far my favorite UFC fighter, and I look forward to following his journey.
His
Yeah, he's
career.
not gonna be beaten in that division for a long time. He has that middleweight division in the grasp of his hands.
Yeah.
I
Well,
mean,
because he's
I
putting
think the
pretty much
only person that might be able to beat him is Whitaker, because
He's on
he's a
fire.
he's a demon in and of itself. But I mean, he's
remind
just
me
good.
how because he fought Whitaker. Was that the fight?
Oh, he knocked him out.
He
Okay,
dominated. Yeah,
Yeah. Caught him
because
with the left hook and just dropped him. It was a
twice.
great fight. Great fight. But they'll fight again. And
I love
Whitaker's
that.
hot right now too, but Whitaker was hot when he also fought Israel the first time too. But I think that'll be a great fight once again. And I think that's pretty much Dana was saying that's the next fight they're gonna make for Israel. Is
This
the
is it.
Whitaker fight since it needs to happen. Yeah,
He's, he had the
it's just
fuzzy
an
orange
orange
hood,
little. Yeah, it was strange.
but doesn't make any sense.
Weird outfit.
I
Didn't
know.
make much sense at all.
I've become
But
quite the little UFC fan recently.
yeah.
I've watched
What?
I think the last two cards.
Mhm.
I
No,
really look forward to the McGregor Poirier.
Poirier. Yeah.
That's gonna be so much fun.
Actually, I think wait, I think Wonder Boy might also be on that card.
I love Wonder Boy.
I'm a big fan of Wonder
There's
Boy
got to be
too.
some good undercard fights because that's a freaking huge event. Has any
Mhm.
undercard fights been announced yet?
Yeah, it's yep. What's it called? Wonder Boy fighting Gilbert Burns
I don't
as
know
the
who
co-main
that
event.
guy is. Are there any girl fights?
Yeah, there is.
Heck yeah, those are the
Bantamweights.
best.
Those are the
Dude,
best.
they're ferocious.
Oh, Sean O'Malley's on that card too. What the heck?
That's a good fight.
He was like this hype train, but he kind of lost.
He's
Maybe
still
if the
good.
stars aligned, we'll
Yeah,
all
he's
be in
still
the
good.
same state
He didn't.
and
He
watch
lost because
together.
he. I mean, it was unfortunate his loss. But
What do you think of the odds of
he's
that?
still a freak of nature.
Yeah, he's an animal.
Maybe if the stars align, we'll all be in the same state and we can watch it together.
Yeah, July. Well, probably not. July
No.
11th.
Dude, when are you coming down then? What the heck?
I don't know. Well, maybe I'll be down there, but Easy won't.
Maybe I'll come up then.
Maybe you'll come up. Who knows?
Maybe I'll come up.
Who knows?
Does my housewarming invite still stand easy?
What was that?
Does my housewarming party invite still stand?
I'll think about it.
You're so mean. Alrighty.
Crushing Jake's little dreams.
I just want friendship.
You just want friendship. Yeah, Jake was telling me earlier he's been in a bit of a bad mood today.
I don't know what it is. Everything's just been bothering me.
He's like, I'm so angry today.
there's
My
moments like
palms have been like tingly.
that.
You just tried to
There's
hit
this
something.
bug. I was going to the bathroom. There's this bug that was walking by, and I did like a hammer heel kick to it, and just absolutely
Yeah.
squashed. That felt pretty good.
That's impressive, Jake.
That'll get some anger out.
Yeah,
Yeah, it
that's
helped.
nice. It helped.
All right.
Yeah,
Well,
healed.
you guys have anything to close on? Any closing statements?
No, I think I'm good. It's a good
Yeah,
little pod.
Yeah.
I was looking forward to talking about all these points.
yeah.
Alrighty. Well, again, we appreciate all our viewers, everyone that watches this podcast. Without you guys, well, some of you, we wouldn't be here doing this. I mean, we really enjoy making this content for you and bringing you weekly updates. So please like and subscribe. Keep viewing, sharing, doing what you got to do. I'm your host Zeke with the UCereal podcast. My host Jake and
Oh
Daniel.
yeah.
We
Yep.
appreciate you all. Again, we hope to see you next week. All right.
Yeah,
Peace.
mate.